there's a lot of need. It's not going to happen in 6 months. It's not going to happen in a year. But for those of us that need to get back in a home, we're doing it alone in a lot of ways. I thank God that we're healthy, we're well, and that we have the potential. Lots of my neighbors will not be able to rebuild. They have no land left. Lots of my neighbors, we lost our cars, we lost the house, we lost an animal, and the displacement alone is tragically mentally exhausting.
That's April. She pretty much lost everything in September when storms hit western North Carolina more than 2 months ago. She's tired, frustrated. I think she feels defeated. Wait till you hear what she has to say about FEMA. God. We're in Henderson County in the North Carolina mountains. Those storms that you know about, they hit 72 days ago. And as you probably know, a lot of this area was devastated. We didn't come up here then, but felt like now was the time. There's been all kinds of misinformation about what's going on up here. So we came up here to show you what it looks like now, and what the progress is, and let people tell their stories. They're still trying to figure out what's able to be salvaged and where things can be rebuilt. Down in that valley is a little pocket. It's called Bat Cave. What you're going to see down here and right here, it's like this all over the North Carolina mountains. We're going to spend some time up here and go to the hardest hit communities up here and bring you a handful of reports, starting right here. So right here, this is downtown Bat Cave. It's a little village. It's tucked away into the North Carolina mountains. Super small. There's less than 200 people here. Just a few businesses and some homes spread out along the broad river. For almost a full week, a once in 1,000 years rainstorm pounded this whole side of my home state. It turned trickles into torrents, and the water and the mud and the rocks came out of nowhere, pretty much wiped almost all this whole place away. It wasn't just the rain from Hurricane Helene that came up this way from Florida. This region got a lot of rain before the hurricane even came from an unrelated storm. 30 inches of rain fell in some parts up here. It was a state record. It's the worst thing anybody up here had ever seen. Nobody thought it was even possible. By the time it was all over with, more than 125,000 homes were damaged or destroyed in western North Carolina. That's like every single house in Boise, Idaho being damaged or destroyed. Think about that. Boise's a big city. More than 100 people were killed. There's still people missing. They say it's 1,000 square miles of disaster area. So we spent 5 days up here. We drove around, we talked to people. And man, is this shit sad. Not just because of how these people's lives were changed, but by the way all the response has been handled. They're not getting help. But you're probably not surprised by that. When we first got here, the area was getting pounded by rain. It was the most rain they had seen up here since the disaster. And that had been 72 days. The place was a mess. People told me, any little rain, and they're traumatized by it. I don't doubt it. It wasn't a lot of rain, but everything feels so unstable up here. Like homes are teetering on the brink. They look like they could go down the river any minute. Everything around here just feels on the brink of collapse. Well, they haven't had a lot of rain here in a while. And then today, there's a lot of rain. And this house is abandoned. Anybody in here? This people's back door is just busted out. And then as we continued into the valley, we saw different stages of, I guess, what you'd call recovery. Some homes looked like they hadn't been touched at all or were abandoned. They might have been. Others were demolished or were in various stages of being torn down. Are these live?
It's not raining as much as it was about a month and a half ago.
Oh, yeah. That's my buddy Steve. He has a property in Bat Cave, or had. He doesn't really know what part of his property is actually his anymore, where the property line begins or ends. He was down there trying to move some dirt around to create some sort of boundary. Whatever was in the downtown is... There's not much left. There wasn't much here. Just a post office, a couple restaurants, an antique store. And right now they're just doing kind of cleanup and organizations right now. So there's a bunch of supplies down here, places for people to get food and whatever they need to help them they're not even really rebuilding at this point anymore yet. They're demolishing still, getting ready to try to rebuild, but it's not easy just getting through the red tape and the money part and trying to figure out how do we do this, because as you probably would expect, it's to wrap your head around trying to figure out how do you rebuild your lives. You got to tear your life down before you can rebuild it. And that's what these people here are really doing, is dismantling everything so that they can rebuild it. And the river came through here in this part of Bat Cave, went under the bridge, and just tore out the sides of... This was a cottages, place where people could stay on the weekends, like a little hotel. That's gone. Ripped the back of that off right there. And they haven't even started cleaning that up. This is just one little example of one community, and there are dozens of communities like this that are pretty much completely wiped away. And so here they go, just hauling dirt, hauling materials in, hauling materials out, tearing stuff down, hauling it all away, trying to figure out who's going to pay for it, how are they going to survive, are they going to be able to rebuild, will they want to rebuild? Some people are leaving, some are staying, some don't know yet. Right now it's been 72 days since the disaster, and there's just a lot of unknowns at this point with everybody. Look, there's a shuffleboard table, and kind of weird to see a ceiling fan pointed up. Here's another house. It's pretty much gone. I mean, it will be gone soon. You can't rebuild that. Probably not supposed to come in here, but the back of this whole place is gone. I mean, look at, like, holy crap.
It's the whole back of this restaurant. It's like a little market. There's still paper towels like on the shelf. This is unbelievable. How the river just came in, and you see that a lot. The front of the building looks fine, and then the back of it is gone. It's like a dollhouse. It's just debris everywhere still. This was inside of the river cottages. And they are just still trying to get stuff cleared out. I think they're going to come by. Someone's going to come by and haul all this away at some point. So that's the first step, is get it dismantled. Hey, how are you?
I'm fine, how are you? Not interested.
Okay.
People around here are understandably hesitant to talk to people like me, even though I told them, hey, I'm here at the request of my friends down the street. They wanted me to come up here and get the word out about what's happening here. But a lot of people up here, they're guarded. They don't want to think about what happened or what was going on all around them or their future. Can't blame them. But April did.
Blake just told us that the dam's fixing to break. We're fixing to lose everything. We're fixing to lose everything. The mudslide behind the house has happened. I've got to get clothes on and get out of here.
Okay, we're with April right here. We're in Bat Cave, North Carolina. April, we're here where you lived, maybe will live again.
Hopefully.
What happened that day, those 2 days?
We were expecting about 15 inches of rain. We ended up with a lot more than that.
Hold the mic up here. Yeah, there you go.
And we were in the house. We weren't planning on leaving. We've been in many storms with no worry. Obviously, this was historical, so it was something that no one could predict. We did not leave until about 10 minutes before the storm took the house. Our neighbor next door came banging on the door, grabbed us and our three dogs, and we ran across up to our neighbor's house and sat there for the 3 hours watching the storm. Came back, the house was gone, and of our 1,600 square foot house, we probably had about 300 square feet left. It was demoed last week. I was optimistic. We filed with FEMA right away within 2 to 3 days of the storm, and we've been now 8 times and been told no. We went through 2 inspectors. The first one really failed on us, didn't show up, said we couldn't prove residency, never showed up, so we couldn't even think about that. By the time another inspector came, they said we'd hear something within 10 days, and we didn't. We waited 3 weeks, we went back down. We've been there about 22 hours, 8 visits, and still nothing. Insurance said nothing, so we're trying to exist. We're paying a full mortgage and paying for rent, and which is very hard in this area, period, much less to find and then to pay. And we're hopeful that we will be able to rebuild. We want to live here. We love the area. We love the community. We're in the process, but it's going to take a strong feat. We are resilient. We want to do this, but we know that we're facing a mountain. And the area has improved a lot, but there's so much destruction everywhere that mixed messages get out there. There's a lot of people saying we've got these resources, but we don't. There's a lot of charities doing a lot of hard work. Our demo went really well. It was a charity that came in and said they'd do it after a $15,000 quote. It took them about 4 days. Our debris sitting right down there on the road and hasn't been picked up yet. And
That's your house.
That's our debris.
That's your debris.
Our neighbor Blake's house has been also demoed and just there's no room to put it. So at this point, we're just trying to go day by day, and hopefully we'll get progress. It's just I refuse to let just our faith and hope go, but nothing. The assistance is so limited, and we're pretty smart people. And if we have this much trouble navigating the system, if we have this much trouble getting help, and I mean, I've reached out to grants, I've reached out to disaster resources, I've reached out to probably about 15, 20 organizations, and either because we're in Henderson County, we're not eligible, we're not in Rutherford County, which is 1.5 miles that way, because we're not in Buncombe County, 6 to 8 miles that way, we have to go with Henderson County resources, and they're limited. And it's not to knock those that are trying, because that's what I don't want. I don't want those that are trying and making the effort to not get the credit they're due, because they're doing something where nothing else is being done. It's just, there's a lot of need. It's not going to happen in 6 months. It's not going to happen in a year. But for those of us that need to get back in a home, we're doing it alone in a lot of ways. I thank God that we're healthy, we're well, and that we have the potential. Lots of my neighbors will not be able to rebuild. They have no land left. Lots of my neighbors, we lost our cars, we lost the house, we lost an animal, and the displacement alone is tragically mentally exhausting. Just day by day, what are we doing today? Trying to work full time while you're doing this and navigating the system is difficult. And I think that I just wish that it wasn't so hard, but I can't imagine those that don't have the skill set or the resources to be able to go to all these places hoping they'll get help. We need trades, we need materials, we need skilled people to come in and help. I mean, graders, wood, site guys, right now that's where they're at, and they did a great job. I mean, the power was up within probably 2 to 3 weeks. I mean, there's a lot been done. I mean, if you would have hiked out of here the 2 days after the storm, we didn't think we'd ever see our house again, or the property again.
Or the land, yeah.
The land, yeah. There was no hope when we were stuck on this little island, which is right down there to right down there, 14 of us right in this section, no hope that we were coming back. I mean, it was like a war zone.
Then you have stuff like this. It's just somebody's entire house washed away. Just sitting here. 72 days later, it looks like that. Everything that was near a river is gone. Whatever this was, it's no longer. Up and down the highway, you see this everywhere. And this is just one small pocket up here. And the road is completely, like you can see right here, this is part of the reason recovery and getting things back to normal is so hard. You've got like entire stretches of road that are gone. They're one way only. And then you got another house here. They're probably waiting to hear what the latest is for them, if they're going to be able to rebuild that or if they even can. So these people got lucky. They didn't lose their house, but they lost their bridge. So they were stranded like a bunch of other people. So they couldn't get out of here. These are the kind of people that had to get airlifted out because they were trapped on a little island. When this thing came roaring down, it just wiped away their only way out. So you've got stuff like, what the hell? What in the hell is going on? Holy shit. No idea what's happening. I don't know what the emergency could be. This is just devastating. I don't think this car's moved since all of this happened. It is bone-chilling cold up here right now. Oh my God. I'm trying to show you what this looks like from all of this is gone. So it came up here and just, I think they're trying to figure out if they can rebuild or salvage that. I don't think they're going to be able to. No idea. But the water came through. And you could see where I'm standing was underwater. It used to be way down there. It came up 30 to 40 or 50 feet. I don't know. And just devastated everything in its path. So this is probably not coming back. God, this whole, you can't even really honestly, the camera does not really fully, look, there's a car still right here. Holy shit. You see this car? It's been 72 days, and there's still cars on the side of the road that just, we'll get to it when we can. And then here's another house. The river came up, so the river's way down there. It came all the way up here. And I don't even know if that house was even there. It could have moved from somewhere else. Sometimes it's hard to tell where these buildings even were. If it was up on the side of the road or it got pushed from somewhere else. You can still see inside their kitchen. There's their toaster oven, their air fryer.
The phone poles washed down, and then a Toyota Corolla washed down, and a couple of trucks. And they acted as a sort of dam which stopped the waters from flooding and washing my house downstream. I did lose my bedroom down there.
That's your bedroom?
I was sleeping by the creek behind my house there. So that happened on this side of the road. I was really lucky compared with so many people further down because the devastation starts and continues down. This side of the road, this many years ago was a fruit stand, and now It's owned by two people who are artists. They live in Barcelona, Spain. And there was an Airstream, an Argosy trailer parked here. That just disappeared that night. Somebody saw it floating off downstream. It's never been found.
They never found the Airstream.
No. So, and just the community has come together as in Fairview,
Yeah.
as in Bat Cave. It's just amazing how resilient people are. But there's a lot of tragedy as you go on down to Bat Cave, and I don't really want to talk about that. People who I need to respect their privacy.
Got it. Thank you, Tom.
Now, I'm not going to get into the politics of how much I think FEMA sucks, but I can say the system's broken. The people FEMA hires to run the disaster relief programs, they seem unmotivated, they seem overwhelmed or not qualified, and the whole thing stinks. And that's crummy because, well, America first, right? But you know how that goes. They say there was $53 billion in damage up here. The biggest disaster in the state's history. And there's nowhere near that money set aside to fix this. Supposedly, $20 billion from the feds is going to come here, but that's not going to happen. No way. FEMA just approved $260 million more for 138,000 households, so that's 1,900 each. To remind you, I talked to illegal immigrants who get $400 a month. Just got here. Plus, they get a lot more than that. Hotel rooms, food. You know that. And you also might remember that the director of FEMA was fired because she told people to ignore houses that had Trump signs in their yards. That really happened. Anyway, I went to the local FEMA office to see what it was all about. They had a big office set up in the mall. And inconveniently for people that actually have jobs, their office closes at 6 p.m. every day. And like 6 p.m. on the dot. I got there at exactly 6, and they were closed. He was like, nope, can't come in.
All right, closed. Closed at 6 o'clock. Now, if you need help, you got to wait till tomorrow. And they don't seem motivated to open the door. Come back tomorrow. Too bad, so sad.
Insurance companies, they're scamming people. They're not doing what they're supposed to do. And building permits, well, get in line for that. The county's not helping. There's trucks driving around. People aren't really doing much. You might see somebody that's supposed to help occasionally, but I mean, the whole process is a disaster. Proves you can't rely on anybody else but one another anymore.
We've gotten $750 since it started, and we had to wait until like 4 weeks ago to get that.
It's like you haven't even started yet, right? I mean, when you look at the progress with the FEMA part,
Yeah.
it's like, have we made any progress at all?
How did we go from an inspection 10 days later, you qualify for everything that there is, to complaining that we don't have anything, to what is the status of our thing? Well, you need to turn in this kind of receipt. Yeah. And no one ever said what you need, when you need it, until you say, where are we at? Oh, well, you're being held up because. And we're like, well, then take that off.
Yeah.
Because it's not going to add any more to my distribution. If we qualify for the max, then just pay out. And if we don't, then just take that off. Because if I can't produce it, you're just putting me in a pending status. Does not help me.
What is it that what can FEMA say that they're able to do? What, money to rebuild, money to help rebuild? Like, what are your expectations with FEMA at this point?
So this is what I need. I need to be able to see what I can work with. I need FEMA to pay what is expected to pay based on everyone. I'm not expecting special dispensation. I just think that if we had the funds, we could keep moving with progress on our land. We could move with progress for building. We've applied for the SBA loan. They've been out of funds. Until it's funded, we don't have that. You know, we're paying a mortgage. We have a 2.8% interest rate. We have to pay that. But we can't roll that into a loan for a construction loan at this point, even if that's an option. With a much higher interest rate, we can't afford that. And so we're waiting for SBA, we're waiting for FEMA before we can do anything. So temporary housing is costing us a lot, and we qualify for that, but FEMA won't give us that. We were told you qualify for housing, but they haven't given it to us.
Has anybody around here satisfied with
I've not met one person paid out with FEMA that has lost anything more than damage to a tree or something that was power related. Nothing substantial loss.
So nobody has gotten help from the federal agencies at this point?
Not to my knowledge. My neighbor Blake had flood insurance and they paid out, but it took him a long time, and it's not been easy for him either. But I mean, we expect difficult. It's a difficult situation. They're maxed out. They're short-staffed. I understand that. But I just don't understand the hoops and the jumping over the obstacles that have no end in sight. I don't feel, I trust no one at this point that talks from FEMA, because every time I get told, oh, you'll hear something within 10 days. Yes, you qualify. Yes, we'll be there. Yes, you've got that. And then nothing shows up but another, can I get this list of receipts? And can you explain what you're doing with this and why you have that computer?
It's like they're gaslighting you. Like, oh, you need to go. Oh, we forgot you didn't check that box.
I just think that they're either not qualified to provide information. I mean, we've met a lot of people at FEMA through our appointments, and some of them are super nice. They have the personality that we need in a disaster, but they don't have the skill set to be able to navigate the system and tell us where we're at. It's not either intuitive or it's not transparent enough that they can even tell us what our problem is to fix it.
Are they ever down? When's the last time you saw FEMA down on this road?
I've only seen FEMA here once besides our inspection.
One time since September 20.
Yeah, and I don't know how I would see FEMA coming and going because I don't know what they're doing down here. But they had not been down here, and the fire department reached out. They had a contact, and they went to the fire department, and we met them there. And that was probably the most successful FEMA visit we had. But still, you see where we're at. It was the first time we felt like we were seen and heard. But they were here for a couple hours that one day, and then our FEMA inspector came and inspected. That's the only 2 times I've seen FEMA down here, other than them doing other inspections up and down the road. But not their presence as far as doing anything.
From an outsider perspective, that's never been impacted by this. The general public is always like, we got money for the illegal aliens, we got money for Ukraine, we got money for all these other countries that see disasters. They get immediate checks and immediate relief, immediate housing, but our own people are left blown in the wind. Does that resonate with you at all?
If I was to be honest, I'd be frustrated by the fact that funds aren't designated for us here. Yes. I try to not go that route because it doesn't serve me any purpose to be negative or judgmental about things that are out of my control. But I have to tell you that to know that I'm waiting for an SBA loan to be funded, for Congress to decide to fund it while they're sending money elsewhere, is frustrating, because I'm willing to pay that money back. It's not gifted to me. I'm willing to pay that back, but I need it in my hand to build a house that I need to live in, and it's not offered because they haven't approved funding, but the funds have been approved to go elsewhere. I think that's my frustration. Not that they're helping other areas as much as we should come first.
Yeah, America first. When this got going, everybody said citizens, regular people were the ones that jumped in to help. You can't rely on the government. You can't rely on agencies and nonprofits. It was actual Americans helping one another, like what you guys are doing.
Amen. That's what it is. I've been down here for over a month now, and I've seen no FEMA, no Red Cross, nothing. And it's just other than the DOTs fixing the roads, everything else is just private citizens stepping in to help, and brought in all the supplies that they got overwhelmed with. So many, when they put out a request for heaters, a church here a week or so ago said he put a Mayday out for heaters, and he had, I think, 8 Amazon trucks in his parking lot within the next 3-4 days. It was just mind-boggling.
So these two dudes, they were down in a yard. They were pushing some mud around. I was like, what are you guys doing? They were down by the riverbank. They said, we're not from here. We're just helping. I was like, let's talk. They said, we're from Iowa. We just heard there was a need, so we packed up, brought our gear, and came down.
Well, it's hard for me to tell I mean, it's devastation, but the total devastation, the fact that all these houses are gone that were here, and I can't even imagine where they were at. So the devastation is much worse than what I can see. So it's pretty bad. If you look at the houses right around us, and you can just see the total devastation, and those are the houses that survived it all. The others are totally gone.
Yeah, these 2 cabins that were here are gone.
There were houses
Yeah, there were 2 more, a duplex and then another one there.
down the river.
Yeah,
gone.
and they're gone.
Yep. And this was all green grass, and the creek used to run, or river used to run right through here. It cut a new channel and went
100 feet away or better.
Yeah, so, and yeah, in there again, you can just see the devastation. So it's nice to be able to help people. It never hurts to help.
Absolutely. They got a lot of supplies, so at this point they need people with some skills to come down. And I mean, you can just be a laborer or whatever to want to help. And there's still houses to clean out, sand and stuff. These houses need to be cleaned out a little bit more. And just building back, plumbers, electricians, and anybody with any equipment. There's so much sand that, some places 6-8 feet of sand washed in from grade. They just need to be hauled out. And sometimes you don't have to haul it that far. A bobcat will go a long ways, a mini excavator, and a pickup, anything like that, dump trailers. Just come down and go to Chimney Rock. They all got volunteer camps set up, tents or whatever. So just to come down and help. And I've served in Africa, in Jamaica, and India on mission trips. And this, you don't need a passport, you don't need shots or anything. You can either drive or fly in, and you can come down and help, and especially for high school students and stuff. You can come down and serve with your parents for a weekend, 3 days, whatever, and get some third world experience just being here and putting your arm around people and encourage them, because they still need a lot of hope. We got 2 inches of rain last night, which had to be devastating for a lot of people, because that's the first biggest rain they've had since the whole storm. And you got to be wondering when you think that you can run from the rain as it comes. The lady told me, she goes, no, it was kind of getting blocked up in the mountains. It created its own dams, and then they overflowed and broke because of the houses and trees all got got backed up, and then broke loose and came down and wiped out a lot of stuff. So you got to, stuff that I would never thought of until she told me that. And keep them encouraged. I just want people to stay on their property, whatever that takes and whatever it looks like, because that's a lot of it's been in the family for a lot of years, and the farm back home's been in my family for over 130 years, and I know what that means,
That's what we need more of. How inspiring, right? What'd you do today?
I think that the most tragic thing is that this area's landscape is just completely trashed. House is gone, road's gone, and it's just dangerous. And I think that, I've talked to the Wright brothers, I've talked to people in the DOT, and they're working hard to get this infrastructure, roadways back. It's just a lot. It's a lot for, and I know there's other areas that have been hit really hard. I don't want it to sound like I think we got it the worst. Do I think we got worse in a lot of areas? Yeah. But I think that Swannanoa, Chimney Rock, Bat Cave, and I think that there's attention elsewhere sometimes. And I think that Bat Cave is kind of small enough that it got missed in a lot of news and information.
Everybody up here has a story about losing something, or being helped, or helping somebody, or suffering, or perseverance. It's never going to be the same here, ever. I think these people up here, they want it to be as close to normal as they can get, and they need more help getting there.
It was definitely like a war zone, and to know that we've gotten this far, there's hope, but we need help. We need lots of help.